Used to Sew, a podcast about sewing machines, sewing history, and sewing culture in the past and present. I am your producer and co-host Aradia, daughter of your main host, T.R. Kelly, who is here today to talk to you about two Midwestern sewing machine enthusiasts, each with their own interesting story. Although their names are alliterative, Bette and Binger, they have nothing to do with each other than being in this episode together. Our first story is about Bette, an enthusiast who amassed over 300 machines complete with their stories that are to be auctioned off, and we spend some time looking through the photos of her collection. Our second story is about Binger, an encyclopedia of sewing machine knowledge who has created a museum that seeks to educate and inspire new lovers of sewing machines and sewing. This episode is all about appreciating the odd birds that gravitate towards what might be deemed excessive collecting of vintage sewing machines and the kinds of power that such collections can hold in the eyes of fellow enthusiasts. We hope you enjoy these two characters and their collections as much as we did.
Welcome back to Used to Sew. Today we are going to feature, this story came across my desk this morning, my virtual desktop, and I'm like, oh my, she was one of us. This is a story about an amazing sewing machine collector. She passed away recently, I think, 2012, so not too recently, TR, that's 12 years ago.
Wow. Math is mean.
This lady's name is Bette Belsdorf, and she's in Nebraska, right in the middle of the country. I think Brock is her town. I'm losing that part there. But there's a picture of her sitting with her daughter, sewing on a 6215 Singer. That's like one of the mid-price machines from the middle 1980s. I sold so many 6215s. Good little machine. Top drop-in bobbin, full rotary, the works. So I'm just going to read you a little bit from this article. This is from the Nebraska newspaper, the Nebraska Examiner. And this article just came out yesterday on Halloween. It seems Bette Belsdorf never met a sewing machine she didn't like. Over more than 40 years of collecting, from bidding at farm sales, tips from neighbors and friends, donations from people who knew she loved sewing machines, Belsdorf amassed a collection that topped more than 300 sewing machines.
Wow. That's a lot.
I never cracked 100. I've had 3 hordes of sewing machines, and I think 80 something. And some of those were just carcasses, so what do you count as a full machine? Let's see I think she's got complete machines here. So I keep reading on here. Her collection ranged from dozens of classic Singer machines, from the Standard 1, which is the first machine they made in 1850, to, of course, featherweights, prized by quilters. She has machines in shades of blue, pink, and orange, toy machines, industrial models, the iconic Singer 66 Red Eye. We've talked about the Red Eye. There are foot pedal treadle machines from the 19th century and electric models spanning the 20th century. For most sewers, one machine would be enough.
I take issue with that. Whoever wrote this article is not a sewer.
Some guy. My dad, what do you need more than one sewing machine for? I said, how many saws do you have, Dad? Oops. How many guitars do you have? Back when sewing machines were very expensive, yeah, and a brand new thing, yeah, one was enough. But
okay, sure.
Now they're like, why not? You can pick them up for a song. Okay, back to Bette. For most sewers, one machine would be enough, but Belsdorf loved history, said Carrie Knapp, one of her daughters. And every machine has a story behind it. One was used to help a family make ends meet during the Depression. Another was used to create a beautiful wedding dress. Yet another had been passed down from pioneer days. She could see history in every single machine, her daughter said. She could see a woman's life in that. It was a woman's means of production, and she valued that. To document the machine's history, Bette kept an index card on every machine, where it was built, who used it, and its backstory.
Wow.
That is important. The backstory.
That's amazing. That's like archival curation. That's not just the machine itself. That's whatever its story arc is. That's incredible. That's incredible.
You know, most of the machines that Mike, our sponsor, Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, Mike Kramer, people mail him machines that are not necessarily valuable, but they have a story. It was grandma's. It came from Europe during the Holocaust. Whatever the story is, that's what these people want to preserve. And they don't usually, Mike's customers aren't folks that want machines repainted. They just want them to work nicely, gets them back to sewing condition and has them look nice. And he will repaint them for people. But Mike and a lot of folks, really the story's the important part. Think sewing machine archaeology. What layer of history did this come from? What town? How did it get there? Did it come on the railroad? Was it hauled on a wagon? So the stories of these amazing functional artifacts, you can still use them. I've said before, my oldest machine's from 1874. And as soon as I get that spring hooked up again, it's going to sew just fine. So Betty here, she has decided that not only did I just have a whole lot of featherweights, but they've all got a story. So reading on here.
That's so cool.
Okay, so unfortunately, Betty Bolsdorf died in 2012. And the family recently decided that her collection of sewing machines, which filled a small house on the family farm near Brock, Nebraska, the sewing machines needed to find new homes. We were talking about sewing rooms the other day. She has filled a small house with sewing machines.
That's when the sanctuary is now taken over everywhere. Now everywhere in your personal space is the same sanctuary. That's maybe a bit much sanctuary, but maybe not.
After we talk about Betty here, I'm also going to talk about a fellow named W.K. Binger and how he turned his sanctuary into a functional museum and how cool it is. But let's continue with Betty here. That auction is scheduled for November 1 and 2 in Syracuse.
When we're recording this.
Right now. With a collection which now numbers 270 machines, give or take a couple more. They're going to find some stashed places, I'm sure.
Sure.
Also included in the auction will be fabric that Betty collected over the years, some dating back to the 1920s.
Wow.
That's cool. Keeping fabric functional with the dyes and finishes that were often corrosive and nasty, especially silk. You just can't find old silk. It's all what's called shattered. It's fallen apart. Let's see. Auctioneer Liz Hunt says that in decades of work, she's never seen a comparable auction of sewing machines and materials.
Wow.
She says it's legitimately the auction of a lifetime. She's expecting bidders to come from as far away as London, England, Texas, and Florida. More than 20,000 people have viewed the websites showing the items. One prospective buyer from Colorado is bringing a semi-trailer.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, this is an important sentence here. This is the auctioneer speaking. I've seen auctions where men go nuts over guns and coins, but that doesn't compare to women and quilting items.
Look, don't stand between a fandom and its merch.
This is
Just
true.
Don't.
People, quilting is a multi-million-dollar thing now. It's gone far beyond its humble beginnings, and that's subject for several more later episodes. Okay, back to the article. Judy Fletcher, owner of Celtic Quilter Shop in Southwest Omaha, said she'd never heard of a collection of sewing machines of that size and would definitely bid on a couple of the machines if she could attend. But Fletcher says much depends on the condition of a machine and its wooden cabinet if it has one. Now we're getting deep here. For instance, there are, quote, stalkers looking for portable Singer featherweight machines because of their popularity with quilters. But their worth can vary from a couple $100 to several thousand, depending on the year it was made and its badge, which is like when it was made. Like there was some special centennial or state fair badges that are quite rare. The first featherweight machines from 1933 can be worth a lot of money, as can the later crinkle finish wartime models. It really depends on the machine, Fletcher said. And that's true. Like, how much is my featherweight worth? Well, send me a bunch of pictures and let me hear it run.
Right. They're not all created equal. And also, we're talking about vintage stuff. So what kind of repair is it in? That matters.
Yeah. And it ranges anything from a hull, which is just the body with no parts attached. Even just a hull will cost you $60. Clear up to the most expensive featherweight I've heard of is a full dress Texas State Fair. Full dress means it has the case, it has everything. All the attachments, all the additional attachments, the original instruction manual, original needle packets, everything. Full dress, Texas Centennial machine. Only think 26 are known to still exist. $14,000.
Wow.
For a little sewing machine. Now, it doesn't sew any different than my 1950 that somebody gave me for free, and I had to repaint it because it was so thrashed. That machine sews great, and this Texas one will probably sew great too. But what are you buying for $14,000? You're buying the story.
Mm-hmm.
Buying the story and the scarcity. Partly the scarcity, right, but partly the story. It's got all the stuff. Texas Centennial, or the Texas State Fair, I think it was 1936. I could be wrong there. So that's like the holy grail for a lot of sewing machine. There's people that collect only featherweights. They don't even look at anything else.
Wow.
There are so many variations, and they've got to have each one, right? It's like, okay, well, to each his own. If you've got the space and the money, like Betty Bellsdorf did here, she's got a small house on her farm. It's probably the old house. They built a new one. Oh, I use the old one to store my machine collection. Awesome sewing room, Betty. Way to go.
Seriously.
Okay, let's talk about Betty some more. Carrie Knapp, the daughter, said her mother Betty didn't have much when growing up, but she was a skilled seamstress, and at Brock High School, she won the regional Betty Crocker Award for homemaking.
Wow, Betty Crocker. Betty Crocker Award.
Betty won Betty. Her family were people who could make something from nothing, says the daughter. Betty sewed her own wedding dress, made clothes for her 4 children, friends, and neighbors. She initially worked as a telephone operator in nearby Nebraska City, earning extra money via sewing projects. Knapp said her mother once sewed a leisure suit. This pushes us to the early 70s. Leisure suits were a thing. Her mother sewed a leisure suit for a neighbor who weighed more than 300 pounds and could not find a suitable sports coat at a store.
Custom tailoring.
Nowadays, that's easier because of fast fashion, which is a whole nother thing. You can buy stuff in any size because it's all made super cheaply overseas. But at the time, there really weren't stores. If your body wasn't within a certain size range, finding something off the rack was impossible. A lot of my early sewing was for some queen-size women I knew that were housebound and too large. I mean, one woman, she wore a bed sheet all the time. So you heard the phrase, the whole 9 yards? That's how much calico it took to make her a dress. But we made her 4 dresses, and she was so happy. It was amazing.
Because it's amazing what a tailored to your body set of clothes will do. Like, you can look, no matter how awkward you think you look, just, in whatever clothes, if the clothes you're wearing have been tailored to fit your body, you will look so much better. It's just a fact of how clothing works. No
matter what size your body is, we can make it look awesome, So it's like, looking at the customer's body and seeing what's going to be comfortable for them, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're getting way off the end here. But anyway,
tailoring, a whole other episode.
Betty was sewing for people who needed to be sewed for, and that is really cool. She later worked at a Lincoln, Nebraska wedding dress store, altering gowns for new brides, and she was an avid quilter. Her husband, Dan, said that Betty started collecting sewing machines in the early 80s. This is probably going to inform her collection, which I have not looked at yet. The couple loved going to farm sales, which served as a form of entertainment. Oh boy, we got retail therapy here. Only it's not retail, it's thrift therapy.
It's pushing the same button, but at a much cheaper price.
Now, I have been to farm auctions in the Midwest with my Aunt Joanne and Uncle Bob, and it's just like they describe here. At such sales, bidding would begin on the farm equipment, the trucks, the shop stuff. At the very end, a sewing machine might be up for bids, right? All the important man stuff gets auctioned. I've bought several sewing machines at farm sales, nice little 99s for $2 in a box with a bunch of other stuff. They just get to like, hey, who'll bid on this box? There's a sewing machine in it and a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, $2, I'm there. He bought her quite a few of them. She liked them, and I knew enough about them that I knew if it was a good one or not. So he's mechanically minded. She's into sewing machines. He's like, okay. Betty likely used every sewing machine she acquired at least once, her daughter said. Now, this is funny. Although her favorites were a Singer Touch and Sew and a Singer Futura. A Futura is like every technician ever hates the Futura, the 920 and the 1020.
Oh. For
so many reasons. They're impossible to work on, and they broke a lot.
And then the Touch and Sew, I recall from the stitching video, they apparently one of their colloquial names is the Touch and Throw.
Touch and Throw, Touch and Swear. Touch and Swear was another one I heard a lot.
Yeah.
That line, that nameplate went from the 600E clear up to the 7 something or other. The 600 and the 603 were still all metal inside. They had the little gadgety gimmick of the bobbin that wound inside, but they were okay. So maybe she had a Touch and Sew that didn't have the rubber feed dogs. We talked about the melting rubber feed dogs. So anyway, this Singer Futura also had melting rubber feed dogs. Maybe she liked that. So, Betty, you're throwing me here. You liked to Touch and Sew in a Futura. Okay. She liked figuring out how a machine worked, and her husband and a friend from Pawnee City liked to repair the machines when needed. So she's liking sewing on them. She's got some help with the fixing. Most of the machines she collected were made by Singer, the first company to allow the purchase of the then pricey equipment on installment plans. I don't know why they put that in there, but it's true. Her husband, Dan Belsdorf, said that at age 85, he decided it was time to plot out a future for his wife's massive collection. Both he and his daughter said they hope new homes and new uses will be found for the dozens of sewing machines and related items that Betty has collected over the years. Somebody will have them and take care of them, Dan Belsdorf says. Oh, we sure hope so, Dan.
I hope so. The part where they come with their own backstories is going to definitely, I think, create more appeal than just it's a good machine. Like, it's a good machine with a good story, I think is going to help. I really do.
So now I've read the article. Now I've gone over actually to the Antique Sewing Machine Collection.
Yes.
The website that actually is the auctioneer's website that shows what we've got here.
This is what's going to start being sold tomorrow.
And so I've kind of like as I was reading about Betty, I was like, what is going to be in her collection? And I didn't look very much before we started recording here.
Yeah, not too thoroughly.
And you go to the website, which you'll see in our show notes. Put that in there because I'm sure these photos will be up for a while.
Yeah, it's at Hunt Auctions Sandland.
Huntauctionsandland.com. Lifetime dash. Yeah,
link will be in show notes.
Links will be in show notes. Okay, so here is the first ranks are a lot of singers.
Quintessential singers with the bentwood box you were talking about a while back.
Lots of bentwood boxes. I see several 27 hand cranks missing their front slide plates, which, the guy in the video talked about why that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a couple electric Wilcox and Gibbs. There's toy machines. Oh, number 28, I want that. And what I saw there's Free Westinghouse. There's all kinds of toy singers.
Yeah. Yeah, some of these are like really metal looking and like they're like industrial machines, and then others are like the toy ones are like kind of more plastic and bright. And then you've got like all the elegant old Singer quintessential designs, everything with like gold filigree through like just plain matte finish and like shiny enamel finishes. And
there's a national tool spool with the round plate. There's a Rocketeer in a blonde cabinet. That is about the most 1960 thing ever.
There's this. I love this bright blue one called the Holly Hobby.
Oh,
that's a toy machine that does chain stitches. Like all toy machines do chain stitches, but like it's just so blue.
It's a lovely color. I'm looking at a pink one here. Sears. Oh my God, there's a Futura. Pass. A 185J, a little mint green 99 like we were talking about last episode. Here's a lot of really cheap, worthless Singers that I wouldn't spend the energy to throw out the window. There's a couple Merritts. These are like late 80s disposable machines. If it was sewing machine shaped, she bought it, is what it looks like here.
Oh, Holly Hobby's friend Heather. She also has Holly Hobby's friend Heather. It's a black one.
This is a mix of plastic garbage and common Singers and a couple other really neat machines, but there is no, quote, antiques. I mean, like...
There was a couple near the top that looked pretty freaking old.
Here's a couple of Singer 24s. That's a chain stitch. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems like she just kind of collected whatever came across her desk.
Anything. Oh my gosh, lots of plastic machines. But there's going to be something for everybody here. A lot of people are into the toy plastic machines or the toy metal machines.
And there's lots of pretty Singers. Just if you're looking for a pretty Singer, this is many to choose from.
But you know how we were talking about on the video last night how Ismax declined to participate because those machines were just really not in their wheelhouse. They weren't the old, weren't pre-1880, pre-1870. There's nothing like that here. There may be a few Singers. Like there's a Model 12.
Yeah. Oh, like I see this one, the lot 184 looks really old and weird.
Oh,
I don't even know how to describe that.
That's my little toy machine. That's a Singer 20.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's just the part where everything's exposed just makes it, the more exposed something is, the older it is, I've noticed with sewing machines. That's true.
You could definitely smash your fingers in a lot of old machines.
Yeah. They're more dangerous,
Oh, here, look at 196. That's a Singer Model 12. That's pretty old. 1860s or so, I think.
Oh, yeah. Totally. That lower, the way it's all lower down, like the bar.
Yeah, look at the shape of the bed. Well, you can't see that. Okay, look at
and it's curvy. The bed is
that's
curvy.
That's called a fiddle bed when they're like that because they look like a violin.
Yeah, and it's on a treadle stand also. So.
Now, here's something I would love to have. Look at 277.
Okay, scrolling.
There's a lot of cool stuff about this.
Ooh, yeah, that circular thing.
That's the Wilcox and Gibbs silent running chain stitcher. Look where the foot treadle is actually two little feet shapes. See that? And it's not exactly centered. They've got this really ergonomic thing of how are you going to sit at the machine. And this is also what's called a coffin top cabinet. The machine does not drop down inside. This wooden box goes over the top. So if you hear a machine called a coffin top, that's that kind. It was later when the machine moved more as a piece of parlor furniture that having it drop down so you could set something on top became the thing. So the coffin tops came first, and then the folding down machines came. It's really rare to find a coffin top with the coffin and with the coffin intact. A lot of times they got lost or put in the basement and the veneer exploded kind of thing.
Ooh, look at 490. That's another one of those boot ones, right?
490?
No, 290. I can do numbers.
I was like, what?
I don't know where that 4 came from.
290. Oh, that is a Singer 29K boot stitcher.
Yeah, that really long, skinny thing that comes out is very distinctively boot.
This is the machine that can sew in any direction. You put whatever you're sewing holds still, and the machine sews around it. This is what I've got one.
Cool.
This one, you see that big walking beam thing on the top. Mine has just a flat bar because it was the first one. And mine's really rare, right? But these are super useful. I have one. I'm getting it working again. I promise.
I mean, even the stand itself is really intense. Like the whole thing is like, that's just a way more intense treadle stand than most. It's wider. It's got multiple like steps on it, basically. Like that's an industrial piece of hardware.
And you can't really see here, but the band wheel, the wheel that's under the stand, not the one on not the hand wheel, but the band wheel, has 2 pulleys. So does the machine. You can switch gears, basically. You can sew slower and torqueier or faster and, So that's a cool thing. Just scroll down a little bit to 294.
Ooh.
Now, this is a coffin top, but it's a coffin top portable.
Yeah, that's not in a stand. That's just in a wooden base.
Right. And that's also, look at the slide plates. See how they're on either side of the needle instead of front and back?
Yeah.
That's called a transverse shuttle. The shuttle shoots back and forth perpendicular to the needle. That came before the shuttle that moves in the arc.
Okay.
So this is very old. This is my picture's not coming up here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, look at all the mother of pearl. If you click on it, you'll see the picture. I'm not sure if that's a Singer or what that is. But also look at the hand wheel. There's
beautiful decals,
a little gold thing pointing to the oil hole. Like, oil me!
Oh, yeah, it totally does. It's cute.
And the little inlaid ruler on the front edge. Mm-hmm. This would be part of a lady's traveling. We're going to the summer cottage. Let's bring the sewing machine. Right? Also, in Great Britain, this might be a European machine. European houses just didn't have the room. So hand cranks were way more popular in England, and treadles were more popular in the colonies because space.
Sure, that makes sense.
Oh, here we go. Lot 371. That's the really old one. That's probably the Singer one they were talking about. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah.
371? That's
371.
So much scrolling. Come on.
Look at the size of the hand wheel on this thing. You could knock an ox out.
Wow.
That's a really old Singer.
That's an old machine.
That's a really old one.
Old. Wow.
So, yeah.
It's got the scalloped edge, giant flywheel thingamajiggy hand wheel. It's kind of rusty.
Yeah, like there's no original paint left.
At all, yeah.
You know what I'm not seeing here as I'm clicking through her auction, and I clicked on the picture, now I'm just right-clicking through everything. I'm not seeing all the provenance of each machine. Like, can we, is that something we can read? Did they take pictures of that? Or is that just something that comes with the machine when you buy it? Where's the stories?
I'm guessing the latter. You don't get the story until...
Yeah, because that's not really... It's a lot of machines. And then if you scroll way down, you start getting into the bulk ones. Look at that.
That's 447. Is that the Godzilla finish? It looks very reptilian.
Did I get out?
Yeah, I had to reopen it.
I lost it.
Oh no! Well, go into our messages. That's where you sent it to me. Wow, there's a spinning wheel.
Yeah, see, then it gets down to like a bunch of other sewing related stuff.
Oh yeah, and then the lots. I'm seeing
the lots. Yeah,
and like cases and attachments and.
So there's a lot of things here that. There's a lot because of what we were talking about in that article was she couldn't bear to see them thrown away. She had made do with nothing her whole life. And once she caught the bug on these things, they became, I have to save them. And that's something that a lot of sewing machine collectors share. It's like, it's such a useful, wonderful, well-made thing. Of course I have to save it. People that kind of tip over from collecting into hoarding, that's one of the big reasons. They have this emotional attachment to the thing. It's useful. I cannot throw it away. It's like sometimes collecting on this scale borders on addiction. Like if Betty had the money in the space, it's great. If you don't have the money in the space, it can be a heck of a burden to try to save all these because really, people, millions and millions of them were made. Not just Singer, but so many sewing machines out there. They're not scarce. You don't have to save them all. Some people will argue with me on that. I say, if you're a collector, pick one thing. There's a lot of people that collect featherweights, every possible variation of featherweight, and that brings them joy to go out and search. They're looking for, there's this one attachment called the Penguin. It's an early walking foot. If you happen to find one of those, it's not that it's worth a lot of money. It is, but you found one. Oh my gosh, the thrill of the hunt. That's a real big part of collecting as well, especially for those of us who like to go thrifting, because you never know what you're going to find. The thrill of the hunt. Some people pull slot machine handles, and that's their thrill of what's going to be the random thing that drops in my lap. Some people go into a musty old thrift store and they're looking down underneath the shelves for those telltale case shapes and what's in that nasty old musty alligator case, and you open it up and it's a beautiful 66 Lotus. How can you not take it home for $12, right? But then where are you going to put it?
Yeah, I don't expose myself to thrifting, because then I would inevitably find something to collect.
I've had 3 episodes of over collecting, which is a nice way of saying hoarding, where I was buying things that I didn't have the money for because they were just too good to look at this thing. This cost somebody 4 months' salary. What do you mean it's scrap metal? No.
Yeah, no, it's brutal to know things are going to waste. So I just don't look. I just don't even look in the first place.
That is a really good scheme. So now I want to talk about another collector just for a little bit. His name's W.K. Binger, and he has the Vintage Sewing Machine Museum. It's called the M. And he has shared the fact that, like myself, he has autism, like you, like me, like a lot of our listeners. And his special interest is sewing machines. But he didn't just cram them all in a warehouse and think he was going to fix them up later. He actually crammed them all in a warehouse, fixed them up, and made a museum out of them.
Wow.
Not only is it a museum, it's a teaching center. He gives machines away. He has lessons with young people and with intellectually disabled people. And most importantly, he will take, if a machine comes to him and it's got a story and someone wants to donate it, he keeps it. He does have way more machines than he's ever going to get to, but he's keeping them safe. He cares about them. And he has just an incredible museum and display of machines. W.K. Binger.
An interactive museum.
Interactive. You come in, and he's the only docent there.
Wow.
He's the guy. He had a helper. She passed away, and the museum's like, oh, my Lord. But now, like a lot of us on the spectrum, he's good at one thing. He's good at machines. He's not good at fundraising. He's not good at keeping his website up, this kind of stuff. So a lot of people are helping him out with this. Last year, he put out an amazing calendar, which is hanging on my wall. This total gorgeous sewing machine, pictures of his collections. And they're all arranged. Like he's got this, I can't remember if it was August, but it was a collection of slide plates and back cover plates and hand wheels, all laid out in a very organized pattern that I found so calming.
That sounds very nice.
So W.K. Binger, we'll put his link to his thing in the thing, and he's, if you're in the Midwest, like Betty, our Lady Betty, she was in Nebraska. This is Topeka, Kansas for Mr. Binger, and I wanted to go there because it's not too far. His museum is not too far from the Greenwood Rising Memorial storytelling place for the race riots, Tulsa race riots. Tulsa, not Topeka. Topeka? Tulsa. He's in Tulsa.
Tulsa.
He's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he's next to the Greenwood Rising Memorial there. And so if you're going through the Midwest, Tulsa's got some really cool stuff. It's also got some cattle town stuff that you can see. But if you're a sewing machine person, he's open as much as he can be. And if somebody wants to come and he's not open, he'll come down and open. He's starting to get tour groups from other lands kind of thing.
That's fantastic.
So sewing machine collecting, it is a thing, and it can be really seductive. And several people that I've met that have collections in their homes. They're not quite as outgoing as WK. I mean, he's got his fence around his museum is made out of treadle irons all welded together. I mean, everything is sewing machines with him.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So that's our episode today. Is two really awesome Midwest sewing machine collectors. One who has passed on and the things are being auctioned off. And then Mr. W.K. Binger, Tulsa, Oklahoma, who has the M, the Vintage Sewing Machine Museum, which I highly recommend. I want to visit it myself someday. I support it with my dollars. I think they have a Patreon. I just send them money once in a while. But anyway.
They're very cool. Links will be in the show notes.
Yes. And collect with care. Just leaving you with what am I collecting now as far as sewing machines go? I'm not, but I'm still kind of keeping my eye out for a Wilcox and Gibbs.
And I have a little bit more room in my life to take on more machines for specialized purposes, and I will be when the exact right one comes along. And you said you might be finding me my old one from Mike, maybe.
Yes,
possibly.
your treadle, which was a Japanese HA1 Singer 1530 clone. Yes, you need a treadle. Everybody needs a treadle, especially where the power goes out a lot, like it does here.
And that machine, I actually have the entire story of its provenance, more or less. So if we ever get it back in hand, we can do a whole episode where I tell the story of that machine. It's quite short, but I'm not going to tell it now because I think we should save that for later, if we get it.
It's a whole nother bobbin.
It's a whole nother bobbin.
All right, folks, stay threaded.
Stay threaded, and we'll see you next week. And there you have it. 2 tales of impressive vintage sewing machine collections and the ways in which the larger public is interacting with them. TR tells me that there is going to be a follow-up episode about Binger and the M at some point. Apparently, there are ongoing developments. We talked about the difference between old machines and old fabric, the reasons behind why machines that are rare are so prized, and examining the narrow gap between collecting and hoarding. I really enjoyed the part of Betty's story where she kept all the stories of the machines on index cards. And likewise, just the sheer fact of the M's existence. Both of these things really speak to me as someone who loves libraries and information storehouses and cataloging systems and organization and lore, and I could go on. If I ever have a reason to go to Oklahoma, I will definitely try to visit the M. As a reminder, we are unofficially sponsored by Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, who do repairs and restorations. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can support us by sharing the podcast with your friends, and also with money, at patreon.com/used2sew. Thank you for listening to us here at Used to Sew. We always welcome your additions, corrections, and feedback in general. Please reach out to us via email at usedtosew@gmail.com. Used to Sew is a production of Fox and Raven Media. For more podcasts from Fox and Raven Media, visit our website at foxandravenmedia.com.